So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching. Just bear with me while I set up my phone, because that way I will be able to see the comments as they come through, which is sort of helpful. There we are. Hopefully this will all work out. We'll swap that over to there. And with a bit of luck, we will be live. Excellent. There we are. We'll silence that so we don't have an echo, because that's always cool. And there we are. Hello, Jackie. Thank you for watching. Let me just tuck that phone somewhere where I can see it. Hi, Anthony. How are you? How was work? I hope it was okay. So, well, I'm quite proud of myself today. I've managed to do all of this and not get myself in a little stew, which is even better. So we're going to make, whilst we're waiting for lots of other people hopefully to come in, I'm just going to start with a background colour. I've just got a 12-inch circle of MDF and some bourbon acrylic paint from my favourite brand, Pentart, but obviously anyone will do. And I've done some prep, but not quite as much as normal. Hello, Cassia, how are you? So a long time since I've seen you watching a live. I'm loving your acrylic that you're making and all those beautiful key rings that you've been doing. Hello, Sheila. Hello, Paula. Thank you for everything else, and for taking the time this evening to join me. Hopefully the light in my conservatory will hold up. I have put the main light on, which is always good. Reset my camera after some shenanigans the other day when I had to use StreamYard for a Pentart live, but hey ho, it all adds to the fun of life, I think. I think we're all in focus. Hello, Julie. Thank you for watching us this evening. So this is just one of my favourite go-to colours. It's called Bourbon, and it's a really dark red. But obviously choose whichever colour you want. I know where I'm going with this, or I think I know where I'm going. I'm having a little bit of a play tonight. We've got some mediums that were probably quite new to lots of people. Some of them are old mediums, but some of them are going to be using in a way that perhaps you haven't seen before. So I hope it's interesting. I know that there's not been a huge number of lives this week in the group. It's really quite difficult for everyone to keep on making projects week after week. So if anyone fancies doing a live, then, you know, contact Charmaine or Lou Sims. I'm sure that they would be most grateful for people joining in and helping out. Hello, Joan. Thank you for watching. It's lovely to see lots of familiar names and friends coming in. Feel free to tag anyone that you think might want to watch. I think one of the problems with when there haven't been quite so many as there might have been, is that people forget that we go live, and so it's good sometimes, I think, to collect your friends and family and encourage them to come and watch. With everything. Let me just clean up some of this mess. There we are. So that, as I say, is just a coat of paint onto some unprimed MDF. It isn't my final layer. If it had been, then I would have used some acrylic primer first. Hello, Julia. Thank you for watching. That's really appreciated. You joining us this evening. I hope that you are enjoying retirement, though I think that your own shop's probably pretty busy. Well, I hope it is, because clearly that's a good thing. And there we are. I'm a techno whiz now. I don't think so, Anthony, but hey ho. I don't think so. Let me see if I can swap this over, and we might go picture in picture. There we are. That's even better. And why have we got extra devices? Let me just get rid of one of those. There we are. That might be better. No? Well, there we are. Clearly not. We'll pop that one on and take that one out. And then you can see what we're up to, because that's clearly working better. And then I'm not appearing to be quite so rude. If I tilt that up, you'll have a better view of all of the mess in my craft room. But there we are. Cool. Looks like yummy chocolate cake. I guess so. It's actually quite a dark reddy brown, so not quite as dark as chocolate, but I think it's a good colour. So we're going to have a play and do a background I've sort of not done before. That might be a bit of a risk on live on air, mightn't it? Hello Sarah Lou, how are you? Let me find a paintbrush that's won't matter if gets gummed up. So I've picked up a crackling paste primer here. The current version is the universal primer, as it works with several other different crackle brands, and it was in the show the other week. So for those of you that have got your orders from that show, you will have that in stock. And there we are. So we're going to just give this a good coat, and we're going to make a textured background. But we're going to add colour to our crackle paste. So the Pentart 3D crackle comes in white and black. And you think, well, that's a bit boring, isn't it? They said it used to have a really Halloweeny orange and a green, and I might have had some of those somewhere. But heavens only knows where. Anyway, we're going to have a little bit of a play and make our own colours, because you can add pigments to the white mediums and the clear mediums, come to that matter, and make your own colours. So that's what we're going to do. I just thought it was a bit different, and it means you've got complete control over where you're going within the realms of your colour mixing abilities, which I'm sure might be better than mine. But there we are. Let's just make sure we've got coated that over everything, undid that. And as you know, the Pentart Crackle medium is heat stable, so we can pop this on here and give it a good dry, because I really would quite like to show it all step by step today. It's not quite all step by step. I have done some other pieces, so we've got some bits. So this is just a resin that I have used some different mediums on, and we'll come to that. And I've got some papers cut out, and I've got an unprepared resin frame. Those of you that might recognise, these moulds are primarily from Prima. The little heart, there we are, I'll move that up there, is from Stamperia. So let's just give this a dry without bubbling too much of it, because that's what I want to do. So, and how is everyone? Are they all going to have a good evening, good weekend? Have you got some nice things planned? I know I have. I am taking a friend to Ruffin in North Wales tomorrow. We're going to be doing a class at the Vineyards with Jo Rice, who's one of the ladies on the Vineyards design team. So that will be cool. something quite different for me. I don't very often get my stamps and things out, but I'm always up for learning something new. So let's just wait for this to go clear, otherwise it won't crackle in the way that we want it to. And I'm going to have my dark colour showing through my crackles when they're done. Well, that's the plan anyway. So, hello Dominic, thank you for joining us. Busy with swimming and crafting. Yeah, I went swimming this morning. I did an aqua aerobics class. I decided that I really did need to get fitter, and so that's what I've done. Now I really don't understand what went on there. There we are. No, that's the one that isn't working, so let's turn that one off, that one on, and lock that, and then I won't be able to knock it off, which is what I did last time. There we are. I am definitely getting more comfortable with the technology. If I can do things like that and work it out on live. Good evening, Jill. Your meatballs are safely in our freezer, so when Madam next is coming over, I'll make sure she brings them over to you. And I know that might seem a bit of a random comment, but Jill, who's just joined us, is my daughter's boyfriend's mum. You told me I'm a whiz. I'm definitely getting more confident, that is for sure. Right, let us just leave that off to the side while we have a play. Right, and do we have enough room? That will be the inevitable. Not a cat shot. There we are. Right, let me pop. You know what? There's that place called the floor. So I have some little pots of magic here. They're pigment pastes, and they come in yellow, red, green, blue and black. And for the purposes of this evening, we're going to use the yellow and the red, and we're going to use the white 3D cracking paste. There we are. Well, that would be lovely, Alison, if you've got a birthday and a wedding celebration to come. Now then, let me just grab some of my 3D cracking paste. I'm going to need a reasonable amount. I do have another pot, but did I put it close to hand? That will be no, but hey ho. Yeah. Why would you do something sensible? There we are. Right, now then, the thing with these is these are very, very highly concentrated. So I am just going to literally drop one drop of that yellow into there, into probably about a tablespoon of the powder, of the paste. It's easier to add pigment than it is to take it out, I can tell you. And if you've put too much in, you then suddenly find that you need to add masses of white to neutralise it. And so, there we are. So as you can see, I am being moderately careful with the. You can see just how bright this red is. And if I want to mute it down, then I might well do so. There we are. I want sort of an orangey tone in the middle, so there we are. Let's just mix that up a little bit, and we'll have some different tones going on. I might want a little bit that's a bit more orangey. So let's just add Oops, that was 2 drops added to that little bit, so that might be a mistake, but hey ho, there we are. So now I have quite a bright yellowy orange there, so let's just pull a fish out of that, which is a lump. So I've now got some reds, some pinks. Do I want that colour? I think I might add a little bit more to that. And let's find a clean spatula to mix that in. There we are. Let's say it's easier to add than it is to take out. So there we are, we've got some mixture. So you can add so you can add colour mix. You've got your 3 colours that you'd sit in your inkjet printer, so you know that with a bit of playing around you should be able to pretty much get any colour you want with those 3. And then they've added in a green, and the black is brilliant for adding to your glossy mediums for using with your chrome powders, and the new paint powders from Pentart will also work if you put them over that. So there we are. So lots of different options and uses. So we're now going to make a background with this little lot, and we're just going to have a play. So let us stick that in there and find a paintbrush. And so this is just some whites that I'm going to pop down in some areas, and I'm deliberately going to mix these and blend them in, because I don't want an all over colour, and I don't particularly want a really dark background either. So that's why I've mixed them as pastels. They really will go very bright though, so don't be fooled by the fact that they look pastel. You can make really vibrant colours if that's what you want to do with your colour mixes. And let's have a bit of orange, a bit of the yellow even. As I think it's quite handy to be able to add in some white as you go, softens things down, mixes it up a little bit. There we are. There we are, we're getting there, and that white up there is already beginning to crackle, partly because the MDF is hot I think, and it certainly is already crackling over here, so that's cool. I'm getting a good mix of shades and colours coming through, which is what I wanted. Do try and avoid going over areas that are already cracked though, because it doesn't help the process. There we are, no breaking what I've said there, but needs must, and some of this will be covered anyway. So I now have a colorized, random coloured, pretty much background that I can add in, and you can see I've mixed way too much, but that's okay. I'll find a use for it somewhere, I'm sure, at some point. There we are. So let me pop that over there, that to the floor so I don't stand in it, and give this a little bit of a dry. So I hope that you can see that by using one of our basic mediums and then just adding pigment paste to them, then you've got even more use out of your plain pot, and you can create any number of different colours that you want. So have a go, have a play. They're not hugely expensive, And as I say, they will add, you can add them to your crackling paste, you can add them to modelling paste light, to your ordinary modelling paste. They're water based, they don't change the structure of the product that you put them into. So any white paste can be converted into a coloured paste. I would say that if you want true black, then that's a bit more of a problem, because even though that it is a very intense black, if you're adding it to white, it's probably not going to get you a really intense black. You might be better off starting with a black medium. Thanks, Julie. It's a great product, isn't it? And it's a great way of changing your backgrounds and have it, just doing something very different. And the 3D crackle just works, and it is brilliant. I don't know, I'll lift this up in a minute, because I know from my views it's maybe not showing as well as it might do. So let's see, hopefully that will give you a better view, and you can see where I've mixed all of my colours in place here across the thing. So I've got a really interesting shaded tonal mixed colour background, and it just works really well. So that can go out of harm's way. So the next move is, how did I create these pieces? Well, these are resin frames, and I have already primed them with some gesso. Hi Helen. Well, it's a great thing to be able to do, to mix different things up. I am more than happy to answer questions. What did you add to the crackle paste? I added to the crackle paste some product called pigment paste, Jill, and they come in the red, the yellow, the blue, green and the black, and they will colour pretty much any white medium, and also any colour clear medium, so like your glossy gel and your heavy body gel glossy will all work with it, and you can put them into your bead pastes as well. So they really are useful. You can probably, though Anthony might not thank me for saying it, because they are so concentrated, add tiny amounts to white clay. You can certainly add it to decor clay, and the ceramic powder for casting, and you can mix it with the Pentart modeler powder as well to change the colour of that. So I think that they have earned my a place in my crafty arsenal. Helen, I'll come back to you. If you want help, need to ask questions about mediums and things, don't understand how something works, particularly if it's a Pentart thing, then please feel free to put a question onto either my Facebook page itself, if we're friends, or to ask to join the Crafty Surgeon, which is my Facebook group, and either myself or one of the other ladies that are already on there will answer for you. So that's but we're here to help and to learn. I'm very fortunate to be on Pentart's design team, and part of that comes with the responsibility of teaching and training and showing people how to use the mediums. Now, the eagle eyes around you might have realised I've swapped to a different product that you might not have seen. So this is the Pentart antiquing paint, and unlike the antiquing gels, which are translucent, these are opaque, so they will give you complete coverage, and you can layer them, and then you have to remove stuff. So there we are. So we're just adding a layer of this brown, which is quite a pretty brown. I'm going for autumnal colours tonight, but you know, that's because it's that time of the year, isn't it, as much as anything else. Make sure I try and get all of this covered. Of course, there's always nooks and crannies, aren't there, when you're painting pieces like resin, but hey ho, there we are. Hopefully we'll get into all of these pieces, and as you can see, it gives quite good dense coverage with a single coat. Like everything else, there are bound to be areas that I miss, because that's just the law of St. Sod, isn't it, when you're doing something like this. So that can go over there, and we're going to let that dry. And then we've got some pieces over here that don't look brown, and that's because they're not. That's because I have then used some other colours. So I've picked algae green. I think cream green will be on the show, but I just wanted something that was going to give a contrast, and again, it doesn't really matter which colours you choose as long as you like them. And so we're just going to give this a coat now all over with the green, which to contrast, and there is no way on this world that I'm going to manage to do something like this without having filthy coloured hands. So hey ho. So that's gone onto a dry surface, and if you're doing it on a box or something like that where you've got a thin coat, just drip a little bit of this stuff, and it's called antiquing paint remover, and you really just need a tiny drip, and then if you wipe back gently with a cloth, you'll need clean areas obviously, it'll help you take off some of the paint, leaving green in the crannies, and helping to bring out the detail. And I've probably got enough of my antique remover now on that piece, on that baby white, and a drier cloth is definitely better than a wet one, I have to say, at this point. So there we are. Hello Agnieszka. Oh, I forgot that, you know, that Fridays are your evening off work, aren't you? So you're sometimes free. So we're just playing with antiquing paints this evening and some pigment paste to do something that's just a little bit different. It's lovely to see you joining us, so let's just have a little wipe there and wipe off some of this lot. The light in here is atrocious, but hey ho, I have got a white light above me, but it's reflecting. There we are. I'll pop that there. Thank heavens I did some of these, otherwise we might be here until the cows come home, which would be a look, but perhaps not what we want to be doing on a Friday night. There we are. And this doesn't have to be precise, as you can see. There we are. This is going to say one of the things about mixed media, Helen, is it's about adding layers. I will need that back out in a minute. You can see I'm a mucky pup. And there, you know, there's only so much paint you can take off with a mucky cloth, isn't there? You know, it doesn't work very well otherwise. There we are. So I'm going to give those a little bit of a blast because they need to be dry. I think it probably is a good way to colour the clay, and they are so pigment rich. It really is. I think that they are worth getting hold of if you can. I will have them in a bundle on Selly Telly in October, so there isn't any rush to go and get them, but obviously they are available in selected shops elsewhere over here, so hunt around if you like the look of them and think you'll get lots of use out of them. I love them, I have to say. Hello Patricia, welcome to a dark autumnal evening in the UK. So one of the things with doing decorating, you don't need to be sorry at all, darling. But you know, the world goes on around us, doesn't it? And Facebook doesn't always send out notifications, and we can't always remember everything, and life just has to carry on. So let's I think that one is now dry enough, so let's just do our frame. Now we could do the frame with a different colour, but I'm not going to. I think there's a white, there's a cream green, there's patina blue, which is really pretty. There's patina green, yeah, there's a blue, patina green, a turquoise, a black, a grey called lead. What else is there? I think they're about 8 or 9 different colours that you can get, and I would suggest that, you know, obviously you don't need to get all of them, but I would suggest that you have a mixture of dark and light, and ones that will contrast with each other, because then you'll get the most use out of them. And as I say, these differ from the antiquing pastes and gels in that they are solid colours, whereas the gels and the Lusur gels and the antiquing gels are opaque, are translucent colours. And like everything in this world, there is a place for everything, and of course every crafter in every world needs everything of their chosen medium, because that's just the way it is, isn't it? Yeah, just the way it is. We all like to have lots of different things to play with. So I'm thankfully over my cold from last week when I felt, well, earlier on in the week when I really did feel pretty horrible. Spent the day of the funeral tucked up in bed for the day. It's an interesting way of spending a day. How do I remember everything? I've just been doing this a long time, Patricia, is the simple answer to that. So as I say, this is the antique remover. It's particularly useful if you are doing boxes and things, rather, you know, because it really does help lift it, and it's tiny drops. So that's, you can see where it's dried quite well, and I might need to add a little bit more to help shift it in some of those areas, but you're really not using lots of it, and this will help lift off the colour, and as I say, clean baby wipe areas again is a helpful activity. So there we are. But I just think that the more you do and the more you play with the products, the more you get used to what you're doing. There we are. So let me lift this up. So my frame is now two-tone. I've got areas that are brown and I've got areas that are green. And I'm going to dry that. I'm going to give my hands a try and get rid of some of the yuck off my hands at the same time, because that's always a good thing, I think. And I want to add some wax onto these as well, because I just want a little bit of a more opulent look than I've currently have. and that will definitely wax and water don't mix very well, do they? So let me just pop that over there. Let me just clear up some of this mess. She says smearing it everywhere. That can go in there, that can go in there. We'll pick up another cloth. There we are. Whilst this is drying, you might as well tidy up a little bit. They're quite why I was given a brand new mat to make a mess of. At least it looks nice when it's clean. There we are. I can see there's still an area there that's a bit wet. So let's just shovel that over there and clear that mess. There we are. That looks a darn sight better than it did. And I've got an area here that's still wet. Typical, isn't it? Let's hope that that will dry in a minute. And then I've chosen ordinary gold metallic wax, but choose whichever colour you like, and I'm just going to rub that over the top of my moulded pieces, because again it just brings out lots of the detail. You can see, yes, it's got some detail, but when I add the wax over the top, actually just how much more detail you get. And in spite of that looking silver, it actually is a gold wax. So there we are. And of course this frame has got masses of detail, so we'll just, again, there we are. So there we are. Lots of detail, mix of colours, a vintage looking frame, and a sticky, icky, messy hand, and half a pack of baby wipes all over the floor. Hee ho! Let's shuffle them back through the hole, into the hole. There we are. So we now have our background done. It is a beautiful frame. I love it. I love it. It's a Finnabair mould and it just works. And by adding those layers, you just get so much detail from it, and it's a nice quality mould. I have to say, I wouldn't mind one that has sort of that same similar sort of imagery, but actually a bigger space in the centre, because it's quite small. So here is our background we made earlier, and we're going to make a composition on here. And conveniently, not that you'd know that I planned this much, right, I have some chipboards here. Excuse teeth, because they're the most useful piece of item in the crafter's arsenal. I have a chipboard image that says chase your dreams, and it will sit conveniently behind there. So I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue onto there. Please use gel medium rather than hot glue for these things. So there's my frame, and it's sticky, but that's okay, because that's, and I'm going to centralise it, hopefully without burning my fingers, and get the words upright into there. And I want this to be lifted up. And chase your dreams, I think, is a very important sentiment. So just let me go raid the pile of cardboard that I always have on my floor next to me, because who doesn't end up with a bucket load of cardboard in their deliveries from wherever we get them. And let's just, we might need a couple of pieces of this, but we're going to build up around it. So that one will go on there, so that can go there. So I think we will take another piece of the cardboard that we're throwing around the floor, because why not? Just why not, she says. There we are. So, but I would say always keep your thank you, Louise. Lou, it's lovely. Yes, I think it is a very important sentiment, and one that we would all do well to remember. So there we are. So there we are. We have two pieces there, and this is partly because I know, because I had a little play earlier, that I'm going to pop some of these into place across here. Let's get the matching pair. Anyone would think that I had planned it. There we are. That's going to go there. That's going to go there. That's going to go into there, and that's going to go there. So that's at the basis for our composition, and I've deliberately popped it off centre to one side. We could put those up there, but I'm actually I prefer them tucked underneath. But we need a little bit more information, detail, and I've got my normal sets of faux flowers lurking as well. But before we glue those down, I'm going to take some of our way floral elements, and I'm going to tuck some of these in. Now at this stage it's up to you how paranoid you are about white edges. If you're very paranoid, then take some distress ink and pop them in place. And do I have an ordinary glue lurking? That will be, let me grab it, because why would you have glue out when you're doing a live? There we are. And of course it will be blocked up. So this is the Pentart Express glue. So we'll just unbung that, because there we are. And we're just going to tuck some of these into place. She says, dropping glue where she doesn't want it. So I'm deliberately not sticking my frame and things down at the moment. Do I put my things on one side over the other? Yes, Lou. I tend to have my stuff always popped to my right. That's my preferred side of working. So these come from the Always collectibles papers, and it means that you don't, if you're not a great scrapbooker and you don't make lots of cards but want some embellishments, actually the collectibles pads are really, really quite useful, because they allow you to just have that extra background detail. There we are. So those two can now be sat down, and the joyful thing about the express glue is that it will hold that in place. So that can sit over to there, and this one can sit here, and we're going to mirror those up and over There we are. So that's giving my arch a little bit more of a depth, and I know that I want the heart onto that, so I'm going to pop that onto there with some gel medium. There's a little bit of a gap in the piece, so there we are. Let's just centralise that, and we'll pop that there, and that can go there, that can go there, and we've got lots of these pieces. So I can probably stick this piece in place now, partly because I've got space underneath to work, which is always handy. You work it. Thank you. That's a lovely thing to be told. I just enjoy what I do, is the simple truth of the matter. So that can sit there, that can sit there. Chase your dreams. Then sort of sitting in the top third of here. Now then, we've got some more pieces here, and I want to add some extra details, so that's going to go here, and I might start to add a little bit. I don't need to have too much texture at this point, partly because I'm going to put some of these other moulds in place, but I will, yeah, I just want some extra bits. So there we are. So I might not just stick that down too greatly, so you can go over there and you're going to sit there. So let's see what else we've got lurking. So let's pop that one, might work down there. So I'm almost echoing my shape of my frame as I'm working, and then I'm going to build with some faux flowers and some faux greenery anyway. Those of you that have seen what I do will know that actually I very often will add other pieces to my work. So let's have a little think about where we're going. So we need something else into there, and we can always add splatters when you want, you know, if you've got wide space areas. So there we are. Hello Sabine, good evening. I trust you're well. There we are. So yeah, I love using all of the different mediums, colours, textures. It just makes my heart sing with what I... There we are, we're going to pop that there. She says changing her mind, the whole, you know, and that's the joy, isn't it, of making for yourself, is that you can check, you know, you can then you know, have the piece that you want. And all I'm doing now is doing things that, you know, building my layers, building my composition, just adding pieces so that I like the look of what is going on in front of me. Obviously, yeah, different things for different people, isn't it? So I just wanted to extend my composition over there, and don't be afraid to take your papers. Just because it came in a piece that was whole doesn't mean that you have to use it in a piece that's whole. And it's really difficult, Sabine, isn't it? You know, there are so many lives now to try and to fit everything in. So I now have a framed piece, and I've pretty much used all of my elements. But I think I would like another piece up there, and this piece I'm going to add with some hot glue, because I want to add it tucked in, tucked under there, so it's completing almost my face. So now that one can go into here, Agnieszka, it's difficult, isn't it? I think that, you know, sometimes Facebook gives notifications, sometimes it doesn't, because I'm not live on my own page. I'm live in Crafting Together with All Brands. You won't have got it from my own page, that's for sure. Maybe I should, yeah, I've just been a little bit busy today. As I say, I've decided that I will tackle my overall health and fitness by shifting my backside and going to the gym. Don't like getting hot and sweaty, but sometimes it's absolutely what's required, I'm afraid, in this world. And consequently, at the moment, I'm paying the price for things, you know, still feeling a little bit there we are, that can sit on there. We have its counterpart in crime. Hello Annie, how are you? How's Greece at the moment? I'm coming to visit your beautiful country. I am staying with Vasilis and going to a class with Maga's Memories, which will be fantastic. So we still do have another flower to tuck in, and I am we'll see. I think because I can fill that gap. Let us see where we're up to as we carry on. So I have some pretty faux flowers, and these, although they're silk, they actually feel almost as if they're dried. So let me just do a little bit of pruning of one bouquet. Now we can, I don't know about you, but things like this, you know, at first can look quite expensive, but when you start breaking them down, you'll find that a little will go a long way. You just start taking your pieces apart, and suddenly you've got lots of different elements that you can add. So you know, that piece is too big for me, but it will sit nicely under there, and I have another one conveniently there, so those will sit under there. So let us just pop a little bit blob of hot glue and shovel that under there. And this is why I've lifted things up, because it gives me my space for raiding my faux flowers and raiding the, you know, just utilising all of the different layers on the pieces that we have. Now I don't particularly want all of the depth of that, and I do have some much brighter coloured or richer toned flowers that are lurking, so I might grab some of these, and some of you will have seen some of these the other week. They come from the same place. So we're just going to add some of these in. So we've got a little cluster going on there, and I think we might want a little cluster to balance it up at the top. There we are. So, and at this point it's very much just about layering and building and, you know, adding elements until you're happy with your overall composition. There isn't a right, there isn't a wrong, there isn't, you know, it is what works for your eye, I think, as much as anything else. So I'm thinking I don't much like that at the moment, but let's have a little play. So I think that actually that sits better for me, and we might get rid of some of that over there. And there's a piece of plastic, and I am going to now add my extra flower in there because I have a gap. And you'll notice I haven't got out any any of my velvet powders or my metal foils or anything else. I'm literally just having a play. There we are. So that one can go there. So let us just tuck some of these in. And because I've got the gap underneath my frame where I have things lifted up, I can pop my embellishments under. Now I happen to have some of the chipboard pieces from the same collection, so let us just add some brown to the edges of this. So this is, again, it's about building your form and colour and adding the pieces. So there we are. I think we'll add you into there. I know that means I'm covering parts of my frame, but that doesn't really matter, does it? It's all about adding the layers and the texture until you're happy with your overall effect. I'm glad you're liking it. It's a bit different for me, but as I say, I've been playing with some different mediums and I'm really quite enjoying using them. So I think that sometimes it's quite, it's nice to have different things, isn't it? We'll carry on having a play. Do we want that one added into there? What do we go? No, don't know. I'm thinking that red is just too, she says, throwing them all over the floor, it's just too dark for the piece. Which is why I'm umming and ahhing a little bit. But this cream one will work, so he can slot into there, and I think this one might sit into there. Now I'm going to pop you down there into there, and that's better. So this one is a piece of a paper flower image. We're just going to give a little bit of a curl to, but I'm just wanting to tuck that under there. That helps to link those together. What else have we got? And I think that will work nicely up there, so we'll add another one of those. Tuck that into there. Now then, I know I had a little birdie, so let's pop our little birdie into there. And this is another chipboard piece. Thank you. This is what I do, Agnieszka. I know you do all of your fantastically beautiful layer decoupage pieces, and I layer textural elements. So there we are. We'll pop a little birdie under there. And the problem with this set is that the birds are all in the same sort of direction, which irritates me, but there we are. But I think that I'm going to pop another one over there. So even though that is made from chipboard, I can still add that. Absolutely, Anthony. For me, it is about adding the layer. So I've got the paper, I've got the faux flowers, I've got the chipboard flowers, So let's just pop our third bow. So I've now got three little birdies on there. And what else have we got lurking to hand? Now we could add some more bits of greenery and some more bits of this sort of faux fern. You can see how from my big wreath that I had, actually I'm only using little bit elements of it. So although it may look like I'm actually taking, using masses and masses of product, actually I'm using pieces relatively frugally by adding the different elements that I've got. So, and all of these will add texture. Yes, it will need to go into a a dimensional frame. It's not going to sit conveniently into a flat piece, but who says you actually have to frame everything? You don't really, do you? You can you can leave stuff not framed quite happily. She says, come on, I don't want you over, I want you tucked into that corner. And let's go. So here we are. We're just taking our composition, building it up, taking it out a little bit, adding some extra information. And I know I have, and I've got another flower here, so we could add that into there. Yep, I'm going to add that there because it's going to allow me to sandwich in that little piece of greenery, of faux fern even, and that piece can tuck into there. So what else do we have? So on that bundle there are also these little bits of very tiny flowers. There's still more extra pieces, so let's just take some of these. So from that one bouquet I'm actually really being able to add lots of different areas. If I hold these in a cluster, squiggle my hot glue around, hopefully get rid of some of those, I can then tuck in these pieces. She says, burning her fingers. There we are, tuck that down there. You're the Agnieszka is the ITD queen, absolutely she is. She's amazing with the ITD stuff. But her first love, I think, was decoupage. So that can fill into there. So all I'm doing now is taking these little fluffy bits and filling in areas where I want spaces filled, and I'm just adding extra texture and dimension in the process. And I'm going to pop that one over there. And of course you can carry on playing at it, adding pieces. Many of you will know that when a live finishes, I will quite often carry on playing and adding more pieces to my heart's content. So at the moment I've got 4 flowers there and 2 there, which breaks some of the rules, and I've got 6 overall, but I've got 3 of the white. So I'm not too sure whether I will add another flower or not, and the easiest answer to that is to chop a bit You could easily be a florist, Jill. Possibly. And at the moment, when I'm doing this, I'm just wanting to see how it fits for me. And at the moment, I'm not sort of feeling that I actually need to be adding an awful lot more to this. That might work, but then I've got four of those, so I'm not convinced that I actually need much more at the moment. So when in doubt as to where you're going, the answer is to walk away and then come back and look at it with fresh eyes the following day. So I've got my piece that's full of texture, additional elements, and I've got loads and loads more pieces that I can chop up and use. I've got some different greenery, which might go in and might not. So plenty more pieces here that I can use to play with and to build as I want to. So for me at the moment, I think I'm probably happy. She says probably happy. Probably, possibly not happy. That's better. You see, it's about balance. It is about balance. So if I shuffle that under there, that now sits more comfortably for me. And I threw the rest of the white flowers lurking around, so there we are. I do have one more of those. And do we like it with it there or not? Oh dear. So have you got poorly animals though? I don't know. I think so. I'm going to. Part of me thinks it does need something over here to balance. I'm just trying to debating quite what to do to balance it out. That's too big as a double, but one doesn't look quite right. That might work with some more bits. Anyway, for the time being, I'm going to leave it as it is, and then tomorrow, when I've had a chance to think about it, and no doubt the light bulb moment will happen at stupid o'clock in the morning, because that's when it usually happens for me. Then we will then be able to decide what we're going to do with it. So who knows, we've got some other bits and pieces that we could put in, but for the moment, well, I think we will probably leave it like that. I do know that the one thing that will irritate me if I don't do it though is definitely adding some edging to pull the eye into the piece. So this is just a distressing, but again, you use what you have. It could be paint, it could be, whatever, but it will just again provide an edge. Oh dear, that's a pity. And so we've got to get pills and potions into them on a very regular basis. Never easy, is it, to have a poorly animal, and you always of course want to do your absolutely best for them. So ladies, Today we have played with the 3D cracking medium, and we've changed it up by adding pigment paste to them, so that instead of just having white cracking medium, I have multicoloured, add to your heart's content. And then we've used the antiquing paint and antiquing paint remover. So hopefully that will provide you with lots of thought processes and some inspiration, and well, we'll see. I think I will be doing a live I think it's possibly the 5th of October, because I've got a show on the 8th. But in the meantime, then take care, stay safe everyone, and have a good weekend. And at some point tomorrow, possibly late, possibly Sunday, depending on what the weather is doing, I will photograph this and pop it up onto the page so that you can see it in the fullness of time. So good night for now. Bye.